Hey everyone, this is Snark with Snark's Domain, and we are going to be applying, did I already listen to that? Some Gelid GN Ultimate 6-watt Thermal Putty. Should be fun times. If you guys are having a good night, Saturday night, you're probably playing video games. That's what I'm going to be doing after this. Either that or I could hang out with the wife, but she's got some friends over right now, so they're keeping her entertained. Yeah, I finished a job up today and got back home. Ate some hot food again. It was good. Screws a little up to clean the threads, maybe somehow. I'm just going to check something here with this screw. Oh, there's some putty in there, I think, in the threads. I might have to chase those threads with a tap. I don't think I can. I don't think I have a tap that size. I think that's an M2. It's a pretty tiny thread. I might. I'll have to check. I'll try cleaning it first and seeing if it's just packed full of putty, which is probably the case. Maybe that screw is just done. Oh, that was a replacement screw. Right. So the screw's actually new. I think I had lost these two and then found them again. Maybe I'll just have to see if the threads are dirty. Hopefully it's just that. Alright, so let's crack this card open. I'm just creating like a prying pressure. Works really well for this card. It probably works for most cards, to be honest. Maybe I should show that. So all I'm doing, guys, there's a gap right here, and I'm able to put my thumb there, right? And I put my middle finger here, kind of like in a cross position, and then I just sort of like press like that, and it pops it open. It's been really consistent for me on this card anyways, so if your card has a gap there, probably try that. I don't see if it works for you. There's probably a better way. That's just what I've been doing, and it's been working well. So this is what the Gelid GN Ultimate 4-watt stuff looks like. It's like a minty green, I guess you could say. So we're going to scoop all that stuff up, or as much as we can. This one's not too bad. Being a really, well, fairly small particle putty, this one does tend to be a little bit messier than Hound's-Eye. Not much. It's pretty close, to be honest. But it could be just a little bit less sticky if they wanted to adjust it just a little bit at the factory. Don't think anyone would mind. Anything to make a putty better is always good. Anything that makes a putty worse, not good. Which is unfortunately has been the case with CXH 1300 for the last what, probably a year and a half thereabouts. Hopefully they fix it. Okay, this one it cleans up fairly well. right, I'm able to scrape off most of the putty without a problem. I guess I could get a little bit more there. Now this stuff's got, I believe we measured them at 0.05 millimeter particles. So this is slightly larger than, I guess, what I'd like to see. That being said, there's a use case for this for sure. So if you are in a country where you can't get Houndseye, HY236 or 206, or if you can't get Upsiren UTP4 Ultra Thin, which is like, I don't know, I still have to check if Jarpad, the new Upsiren brand, is going to be utilizing a 4-watt putty or not. The thin putty, we'll have to see. Hopefully they do. Maybe after making some improvements even, that'd be awesome. But Gelid is another brand that is widely available around the world. Lots of folks can order Gelid pads, you know, online and stuff. So this would be another brand that you could buy putty probably off Amazon, probably, you know, hypothetically 2-day shipping at some point. I don't know if it's not going to be there yet, I don't think, but given time, like you can already get Gelid GP Extremes, GP Ultimate thermal pads on Amazon. So that's good. That's good for availability. I'm sure they'll get into have some decent coverage in different countries. So that's a positive for thermal putty, really. It's good to have options. Good to have options for Asus laptops, right? Those are the ones that are struggling finding suitable putties. You really can't use the higher end ones with the larger particles. You gotta go small. Okay. A little bit of cleanup, but not too bad. What are you guys up to this Saturday evening? Are you at home? Are you at work? Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? I'm sure we got a few people from a couple different spots around the world right now. Most likely North America, because it's like, what time is it? I've got 9:47 p.m. So it's kind of late. Not super late, but definitely past some of your bedtimes. Hey, Curry, you're not late. Whoa, how's it going, man? How's the temperature of that Gelid putty? Well, let's see. It's room temperature. I'm sure you meant like performance-wise, eh? I think I had leaked the sneak peek of the performance on this one. Discord. I don't know off the top of my head. I mean, I have a really good idea where it is, but because I'm pretty sure I have tested this putty before when it was a sample from Upsiren. So I didn't actually post those videos or go live with the stream. I didn't stream those ones. It's pretty clean for the core. Just got to get the VRAM a bit more here. As a thin putty, this one is cleaning up decent. I would say this 4-watt stuff from Gelid is halfway between, like not performance-wise, but like texture and feel. This is halfway between Helmseye HY 234 and 236. 236 I can roll by hand with relative ease. 234 has less percentage fill with particles. It's a little bit softer, squishier, stickier. So I find that a little bit hard to hand mold. And this one's kind of like right in the middle. It's pretty close to HY 236 texture-wise and everything. It's like just slightly off. Not a huge difference. Now this, as far as memory serves, this does not perform as well as HY 236. So, nor does this have as small of particles. So, if you have an Asus laptop, and if you don't mind waiting, right? If you plan ahead, if you're not in an emergency, I would get the Helmseye still. That's my current recommendation. I don't think that's going to change for a while, so until we get a better or similar option, then it'll just be pick whatever one gets to you cheaper, faster, or whatever your needs are. Right? Some people will, a lot of people buy putty last minute. A lot of you guys are taking your card apart, right? You've probably prepped for it. You've either like just gotten paste or PTM, and then you open the card up and you look at it and you're like, oh crap, the factory pads or the factory putty are in really bad shape. There's some folks that like don't know what putty is, open up their laptops, and then they're like, oh, I just cleaned up all the goo and then had nothing to replace it with. So in those cases, you need something fast, right? You're probably at school or using your laptop for work. You need it to be working. You can't wait 2 weeks to get it back together. You know, in a pinch with a laptop, it's going to be messy, right? But like if you need it working, I would probably, push come to shove, I would throw a bit of paste on there with the plan of replacing it, you know, a week or two later after the proper stuff comes in. Sometimes you gotta make something work with whatever you have available to you. So, and there's a lot of people that right, they'll buy thermal pads and they'll try replacing the factory thermal pads with whatever they bought. You know, they're getting, some circumstances they're getting the measurements off a little bit. Other circumstances are when they use too stiff of a pad, or a combination of those two things, and then they put it back together and they're not getting good core temperatures. Their hotspots, well, cards that still have a hotspot, are bad. And then they're doing a bit more research, and then they're finding thermal putty. So I get it. A lot of you guys need putty and you need it fast. And there's going to be, well, over the next probably 2 years, we're going to see a consistent increase in availability of good putties that will ship to you fast. Now, you might pay a premium if you're going to buy it off Amazon, to be honest, right? We all kind of know that that's not the place to get the cheapest putty. So my advice to you is, if you're thinking of repasting something, give yourself the time, order it from somewhere where you're going to get a good deal. Because, I mean, the more money in your pocket, maybe you get to eat steak that day instead of craft dinner, who knows? Or whichever food you prefer. Or just put money in savings. I guess that's a thing still. Yeah. If Irfan Ariffin, hope you're having a nice day. I am having a nice day. Back at home. It's kind of good to be home. Curry, finally, putty that is not one of the 50 shades of gray or pink. Yeah, like, when, as far as I'm concerned, this is the same as the putty that Upsiren sent me a sample of before. And this one's green, right? And I liked that, and I was like wanting them to go that way, but the other one had smaller particles. And so I still thought that was worthwhile to basically match the particle size of Hound's Eye, rather than going up to 0.05 of a millimeter. Now, I might test 0.05 on the Asus to see if that works. We should try and find... That's a worthwhile test for me to do, is to find the limitation of what an Asus laptop can use particle size wise. And what we can do is we'll use this one of the 0.05s. We've got the Pentium TH949-1, which would work. I believe that's a 0.07. So I think I could probably get that down to 0.21 of a millimeter, right? 3 times the particle size is what I'm saying folks will be able to do with relative ease. So yeah, I'm just gonna get a glove on. This is one of my low quality thin gloves until I get more of the good ones. But my preferred glove, I hadn't looked at it before, but for thickness, I really like, let's see if we can get these here. I'm just gonna bring this up and I'll fix the focus for you guys. These are my preferred gloves. They're 4.5 mils thickness. So they look like, I don't know, the box looks like this. It's not going to be in focus anymore, is it? But yeah, I only have one of those left, so we're just using the random other one. I guess I only need one right now. Meh. I'll probably put a second one on in a second here. A second in a second. Mental dysfunction corgi. Cheese hamburger. Cheese hamburger. I could go for one of those. Yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. My wife made some nachos tonight. I was driving home. I was like, yeah, I'll be there in like a couple hours, right? Grab a coffee on the drive back home. And she's like, oh, do you want me to... I was thinking of making nachos. Do you want me to wait for you? Or I was like thinking, no, you guys go ahead and eat it. And then I got home. Nachos are like fresh out of the oven. Smelling really good. Yeah, and so I definitely had some of that. But then I didn't want to eat too much because my daughter had to eat some too, obviously. So didn't want to eat all of her supper. Josh Thomas. I used to have Gelid fans. Pretty awesome in my old rig. Gelid fans. Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen Gelid fans. I'll have to Google that at some point. I can't remember. Well, I used to rock Zalman stuff, like CPU coolers. I think I had some Zalman fans back in the day. Didn't Zalman make some like sought after fans before like the Nacho heydays? I think that was a thing. Maybe I'm wrong. All right, we've got the cards clean. We're good to go for application. We're gonna try something here. I'm just gonna turn a light on. I know that's bright, but just bear with me for a moment. Oh yeah, this is totally working. I didn't know if it was gonna fit. This is the microscope. That's cool. So yeah, I've got a microscope and we are going to use it to apply the paste so that you guys can see what it looks like for me. Look how scratched that is, hey? Should we clean that up a bit better? Is it dirty? We'll double check here with a cleanie pad. But this card's been apart so many times, so don't expect this core to look really nice. I used to use tons of Q-tips on it. I applied lots of force to it. It's seen a lot, you know? It's lived a life. Like, look at that bottom right corner there, that little scuff mark. Just all these scratch marks. It's pretty wild that this thing is just... This card's a tank. Just gonna lay down a generous bead. And then we are going to apply some pressure. Right, we missed the little bottom corner there, so I'm going to do it again. Drag a little bit more material over. Just like that. That is how I do paste for testing purposes, because I don't actually use paste on GPU cores when I'm doing someone's card or my own that's not for testing. This is just easier to get fast results rather than having to do a PTM burn in each time. I like putting that little dot in the center. Let's try the polarizer, hey? Okay, so that just changes the kind of looks cool right about there. Yeah, anyways, that's what I do for thermal paste. I do a thin layer and I do a little dot in the middle. It's lots of paste. The dot in the middle will always make contact. Right. Ooh, how those connectors looking? Yeah, they're doing all right. All right, let's turn the microscope off here. I'll turn that light off too while I'm at it. I'm glad that worked though for the microscope to be able to zoom into that. I'll try and remember to do that each time. Yeah, I guess we need to apply some putty. Let's zoom. Oh, that is zoomed out. Let's try that. Grab a little shovel. Do this blue helmsite. No, that one's pretty thin. Use this Thermal Grizzly, the black one. That looks like a... Like, look at this thing. You know, this is going to make it easier for people to keep this like flatter, right? If you're trying to do it at an angle, it's not going to work very well. Like you can tell even when I'm using which guy? This guy here. I'm pressing on it, right? It's going to be curved. You're not going like this to the paste. Don't do that. Do this. It helps to spread a lot better. All right, let's load this thing up. This is the 6-watt stuff. It is blue. I mean, it's almost criminal. You know what? I don't like using the syringe, and this is going to be tough to apply with the syringe. We're going to do it by hand. That's this one's just going to be a lot easier to apply. I can use that syringe another time. So I'm going to get a set of gloves on here, and we're going to get a little paper towel. We're going to wipe this area up really quick. we are going to roll some putty. And it's going to be fun. For me, anyways. Can already tell this one's going to roll really well. Let me just, I'll probably zoom out just a little bit more. That's like all the way out. Forbidden blueberry jam. You got it, Curry. That's exactly what it is. When you're trying to get putty out of a container, if you have gloves, just put your finger in there and scoop it out like that. Okay, this stuff. This is a very good consistency. I feel like I handled this the other day on that one stream. But I didn't really talk about each individual putty much to give my full impression, I suppose. Maybe just my initial thoughts. I can't remember what I was saying about this, but this one is, it's great. It's soft. It's not going to be too soft. You know, this kind of reminds me of what the original CX H1300 felt like. Not quite. It's a little bit off. This also feels like, U6 Pro, which I believe it might be just blue instead of pink. What I'm going to do is take a little bit of putty. I'm just going to dab, because I can tell this one is, you can feel it. It's not gonna like want to stick crazy well on its own, which means it's gonna be really easy to clean up. I like that, right? There's always trade-offs. The stickier a putty it is, the more it's gonna like grip onto stuff. But this one's gonna be the tidy kind of putty, which I personally prefer. Okay, so we've got some 6mm rolls there. I'm just going to make sure that that's well. This one, this is interesting. It does leave a very light film. They've done something. They've done something to this, because it's super soft, right? It's keeping together good. It's not. You can see a light film on the gloves. Not much though. It's certainly not sticking to the gloves. Well, this kind of has me excited for the jar pad stuff. Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool to see what that stuff does, because I think they have made some changes. So, all right, let's chop some putty here. Something like that. All right, a little log there. That almost looks the right length. It's not, but we're going to chop it to length. A little bit longer than the ram, and we just need a little bit more. I can tell I already like this putty, and not just because it's made at the same place that the Upsiren stuff is. I think that's a good thing. By the way, I guess that's just a thing. There are a lot of good putty manufacturers, to be honest. We've only scratched the surface when it comes to thermal putty. There's so many out there I gotta get still. For testing. So I'm not trying to flatten those. I just wanted to touch them down a little bit. You can tell when a putty is not wanting to. Man, that's a really nice consistency. I think they nailed that. If you prefer applying it by hand, this is a great texture. You know, I should look at what this stuff costs. I cannot remember how much it was, but it's the 6 watt stuff, so I'm expecting reasonably good things from this. Okay, we'll take my gloves off here. And let me just wipe this area up. Don't do it, Curry. Don't get Windows 11. Just get the IoT LTSC, I think it is, Windows 10. Buy licenses online if you want for like 30 bucks. All right. Yeah. Well, you've got Windows 11. Mental dysfunction corgi. All right, we have paste. We've got the putty. We reshaped the TGPP10 thermal putty that's always on the VRM here. And we are good for touchdown. Got to line up. Okay, let's get these screws in. Did that work? Oh, I gotta manually zoom in if I change it. If I change it manually, I have to also zoom in manually. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? We're not gonna do it right now, but I forgot to clean this screw hole. So hopefully this works. If you guys weren't here at the start of the stream, when I was taking these screws out, it was just giving me a bit of hassle with this screw corner. Yeah, it feels like there's a bit of resistance there. I'll have to figure that out next time I have the card apart, if I remember. Okay, that's not starting at all. Maybe it was. Maybe there was just no feedback in the screw, that it was screwing in too easily right after going on that hole. I think that's what it was. Okay. You know, when you struggle at something and then you go right from that struggle to something easy, it like feels really, really easy. And vice versa. If you go from something easy to something hard. Like, I'm sure you guys, if you've ever been on a trampoline before, and you're jumping on the trampoline for like, 20, 30 minutes or however long, and you get off back onto solid ground, and then you try jumping, and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, why do I feel so heavy? I can't jump as high. Edison Motors, welcome to the stream. Actually, sorry, Dennis Rubilar, I missed your comment. Differences between Upsiren UX Pro Ultra and versus Gelid GN Ultimate 6 watt. Well, we don't know the performance of the 6 watt yet. We do know what the Upsiren UX Pro does performance wise, but something tells me, I don't know, have you, Mr. Dennis, that's right, have you looked at the thermal putty charts? Because there are a ton of thermal putties, and UX Pro is not one that I would even recommend folks go to. Tim View, let me just find, I need to create a button for the latest chart. Let me just grab something here really quick, guys. Buddy only. Okay, I'm going to make sure that we, yeah. Okay, let me just share the second screen here, just so I can talk about this a little bit. All right, so Dennis, you're asking how this stuff compares to UX Pro. UX Pro is right here from Upsiren, the China one anyways. If you're talking about Upsiren UX Pro from Computer Systems GR, that is, where is that? CSGR UX Pro Ultra, that's down here. 53, we got 50 VRAM T Delta on the UX Pro. This stuff, the 6 watt is probably, like if I had to put a number on it, it's gonna hit around here, 52, 53. We're gonna find out when we test it. That's my educated guess, but like there are a lot of other putties you should be looking at than UX Pro. UX Pro is pretty expensive. It's not one of the ones I would buy for you guys. Like I have to buy it for testing, or did, and then I actually bought quite a bit of it, and I used it, and it is good putty. But now we've got UTP-8, which is also made by Upsiren, which is, you know, jar pad extreme. It performs slightly better, and even Igor, his tests show that UTP-8 is like either like tied with UX Pro or like just ahead. So, you know, UTP-8 or jar pad extreme, that's a much cheaper putty to buy. So I would just buy it. I wouldn't buy UX Pro at all. Now it depends on what kind of device you're putting the putty on. That's going to change what the best option is. If it's a laptop, don't look at UX Pro. You know, you're probably going to want to get, well, if it's an Asus laptop, you'd have to go small particles. If it's not Asus, you could use UX Pro, but you could use other stuff too. So, so that's my answer to that. Edison Motors. Snark, do you use a grounded mat or grounding straps? I do not. I'm currently, my desk is on solid concrete floor, so there's no carpet where I'm at. This is just, I'm going to go back. So all I did was the star pattern, tighten the screws gradually each, little by little. I'm just using a cheap mat from, a cheap silicone mat right here from Amazon. It works good. I think I paid, I don't know, 10, 12 bucks, maybe $15 for it. Canadian, so that's like what? $10 US, something like that. It's really thin. Really thin. It rolls up really well. It does kind of warp over time after just like constant use and abuse. It'll, at the edges, you can kind of see this little, right there. It just kind of like spreads, but the middle section where I'm working, it's fine. So, yeah. Hell is empty and all devils are here. Hola. How's it going, man? Good to see you, Sarah. 2.5-year-old U6 Pro, still good. It's still so good on the 24090s that I had. You had? Oh, did you get rid of one of them? Like you were mentioning? Oh, man. Wait, both? Did you get rid of both? That'd be crazy. That I had to use the new UTP-8 I bought a good while back, so stuck it on some random NVAB enclosures I have. Yeah, it works good for that stuff. Let's see. Parbs, you like your LTP81. I trust that Fahana make long-lasting products. They do. They must. It seems like a good option, right? If you can get it for a good price, it's definitely... I consider, so my putty chart aside, let's just go back to this for a split second here, because let's look at where UTP-8 is. UTP-8, 49.4 degrees VRAM delta, right, over measured ambient. the Honda LTP81, 49.7. So I consider that a tie, basically. Or they're so close, it might as well call them the same performance. Is my test even that accurate? Like, we're going to find that out in the future, but close enough. You know, depending where you are, how fast you want it, how much it costs, and also like what your preference is. Like, you can pick whichever putty you want. It's a good LTP81. It's got a nice consistency to it for sure. It's soft. It handles well. You can roll it by hand. It sticks a little bit, which is not a bad thing. It's relatively easy to clean up. I believe, looking at the chart, it has the same particle size as UTP-8, 0.14 millimeters. Of course, the largest particle size goes to Honeywell with their 0.17, which I'm sure is why they're able to do what they do, right? Making the largest particle size larger means you can bring the smallest particle size up and maybe fit one more in, maybe. It'd be interesting to see how they're doing it, but at Honeywell. Would love to take a tour at the Honeywell Putty Factory, wherever that might be. Sir Ross says no. Oh, okay, so you still have both. I meant I had to use the new putty. You still have both. Have you decided if you're gonna like get rid of the one and just use your laptop as like a primary backup / mobile? That'd be I mean, that laptop that you got, it seems pretty capable, so if it can do what it was doing in that test, which I can't remember what the test was called off the top of my head, but all right, we have the card back together. I'm going to put that up here somewhere. Let me just see here. Yeah, we're going to press down gently. Yeah, just a couple pounds, nothing crazy. And you can see, should we zoom into that? Look at that putty squish. I still want to figure out how I can... Oh, there's a little bit of putty in the fins. I'm going to have to clean that. Good that we spotted that. I need to figure out how to make... if anyone knows if this is doable, the focus of a camera, I want to change one of the dials to so I can just like have a dial and change the focus that way rather than doing it with a movement of the mouse, because I'm not as smooth that way. All right, let's see. Clean this area up really quick. Clean those guys, toss this stuff out. Actually, just kind of wipe that stuff up, and we're going to crunch some numbers here. Pretty sure this is one of Siraj's favorite parts, crunching the data. He's a data hound. It's a good thing to be in a world full of data. Someone's got to do it, right? Crunch the numbers. You guys tell I changed my ooh, it's too bright in here. Let's crank down the should we turn that one off and turn this one on? We don't need tons of light, do we? This is my Helldiver's keys. LTP is easy to work with. Feel like putty has been so well optimized now, the gains are going to be minimal. Application based. Yeah, totally. Thermal pads are still a mystery to me with inconsistent softness ratings. It's kind of frustrating with pads. And I went down the pad rabbit hole before I found putty, so and the optional compression amount to achieve the best temps. I think what's going to happen with let me just put it to second screen again. What's going to happen with thermal putty is that it's going to... Look, it's going to take more brands to come out with a thermal putty. You know, we've got Thermal Grizzly, and that's a good brand to have that makes thermal putty, because they have a far reach, right? It's an enthusiast brand. They make liquid metal, so like the products they make, people start talking about those products. They've got thermal putty. There's people that won't even look at the putty chart. They'll just go and buy Thermal Grizzly putty without finding anything else. And that's, you know, nothing wrong with that. If they don't mind paying the price, like, it's good putty. Don't get putty basic though. Just stay away from putty basic. My personal opinion. I think putty advance is easy to work with, and putty pro is actually really high performing. It's right up there. I'd consider it tied with the other top performers, right? So there's nothing wrong with using that putty. It's just that there's like other putties that are sometimes cost less, right? Often cost less. Right, we're gonna move this chart over. But basically, as more brands come out with thermal putties, when they're competing against their own products that are thermal pads, that's a sign for the folks that like aren't down the rabbit hole as much as you guys are. They're gonna see that like, okay, this is becoming mainstream, because these mainstream thermal pad brands like Gelid now have a thermal putty. That's like the best thing ever. Did I just move the whole chart? Oh no, I did. Okay, I forgot to create a copy, so I gotta put it back there. Okay, there we go. I forgot to click this little create a copy. That's an important thing to click on. Put it on the kapow. etc hash firmware kapow. Okay. I'm just gonna move this down here, I think, because we can't read it up there. I can't read it. Inverted motherboard area 51, but the cooling out of the box is bad. Yeah, not quite as good as your 2021 though. But for 4.5 years, good enough for me to side grade mobile laptop, dream machine. Work on the, yeah, man, that sounds like, well, it sounds like both those laptops would be pretty sweet. They got even harder to work with though. Seems to clamp the motherboard both ways. The clamshell, yeah, that's no fun. All right, we are going to go up here, grab that guy there, Control C, escape. Click here, Control F, place, Control V, data. So it's gonna point it towards the data tab. Nice. It's a good clean test. Control F. Yeah, minimum 2 hours. Good to go there. And the kapow. Control F. Release all. I should move this out of the way. Yeah, it's too late. Ooh, okay, we have a couple drops. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. Indeed, inverted motherboard on the 18, on the new 18, so you'll eventually get it full teardown. Yeah, there you go. Just wait till someone else takes it apart, posts a really good video, makes a note of which things not to break, and then you can take it apart and not break anything. It'll be good that way. Curry, basically Snark Dell Area 151 this year decided that gaming laptop should have a motherboard backplate. Oh, motherboard backplate, which complicates things. So like extra cooling, but pain in the butt because it's going to mean putting putty on both sides. That's, yeah, I mean, good and bad. Snack says I've seen most 5080 and 5090Ms perform within 1 to 5 frames per second of each other in most games, especially native. It's really a lot closer to 40. Yeah. Okay, so back to this chart. You guys see that, right? The little notch there, there. So we're not going to use hour 2. This is hour 1. That's just warm up. We're going to use hour 3 because it's a clean test. And these other hours are not clean. I could use 5, but we typically go with the second hour, so I'll just use hour 3 instead. Right, got that out of the way. Let's grab 3 here for the kapow while we're at it. 11.6, that's a little bit lower than I'd like. What is going on here? Let's actually do that again. Control C, VRAM TIM chart, go over here, base values, okay, we got that, go etc hash, clean test, that's just the 2-degree jumps in the VRAM memory junction temperature. VRAM T delta, it's looking like average 59.83. But we use hour 2 as long as it's clean on this test bench. Like I said, I'm probably going to go and do longer tests on test bench 3. And we'll get like a bigger average. That's what I'd like to do. I want to get to the point where I can select all the clean hours. And if there's like a drop, then I'd be able to like uncheck that hour, which I should be able to do. I could have like a checkbox on the left, so if we see an hour that's got like a where we don't want to include that data, then we'll do that. I'll just put an if statement for this. That'll make it so, yeah, that'll work good. Sorry, I'm just talking out loud on how I'm gonna draw or create a it's thinking. We gotta let it think. Sometimes you just gotta wait. Snacks, I agree, seen some data. I was planning on local center, but had an insane deal on 5090 build versus, wow, 3100 versus 43 retail. That's a good deal. Hot tamales. All right, back to copying some data. Control C. So yeah, if you guys 288. Yeah, that's the rate. 309, 182. The wattage is good. The numbers jive in our heads. It's good. Okay. What is this? We've got a putty. This is the first Gelid putty we tested, the 4-watt stuff. Gelid. Oh, right. I have to find the store that I bought it on. I still need to do that for some of these too. I'm behind on some of the work, but we're gonna get it all done and update the charts. It's gonna be good. Ultimate 4-watt. And it is still September 27th, 2025. Yo. We're going to do the etc hash on the putty only chart. This is the putty only chart, eh? Yeah, and then I scroll over for the small one, which I got to fill those blanks in and post this thing. Measurements in. Gelid GN Ultimate 4-watt. Spell that right? Good. Control C. Control V. fur mark. All right, let's do this one first. 68.6. So Control C, 68.6. Yeah. So I mean, it's not going to be a top performing putty, this 4-watt stuff. We weren't expecting it to be, but it does have fairly small particles down there. Right, this scrolls all the way up. Let's zoom out. It's too convoluted with all the pads and shims. This is more for checking core hotspot. So what did the core and hotspot? 38. Yeah, it's in line with normal. And 49.7. Yeah, it looks like normal. Fur mark 54.3. 54.3. So it's going to go up here. Just slightly better than TGPP10, which is, that's you know, that's noteworthy. I'd probably get this stuff before I'd get the Helm's Eye 268, because that stuff was really sticky. And moment of truth, this is the chart that actually matters, in my opinion. 59.5. Oh, you know what we have to do? Control C. Sorry. I also have to put that on the full chart. $59.5. Okay, so just right there above the LK Pro. Grab that. LK Pro. All right, so the 4-watt putty, it's right here. It's gonna have the 0.05, which we're gonna confirm with calipers before we publish this. But hold on a second. Let me just drag this down, and then I'll change the measurement because I want that conditional formatting to. You know, I'm gonna leave that blank for now until I can go grab my calipers. I just want to zero that out. And no, you know what? Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss confirming the particle size, so leave it blank for now. This stuff performs, you know, okay. It's going to be a thinner putty, not as thin as, again, the Helm's Eye 256, 236, Zezio ZTP Y6, or the 2610 is going to be large. I got to put the particles in there too. This is the one that is I'm curious about. So is the 0.05 going to work on an Asus laptop? Probably. It's probably going to work just fine. Is the 0.07 putty going to work on an Asus laptop? 0.07, if I'm saying, you know, most of us should be able to get to a layer as thin as 3 times this measurement, 0.21. Well, I'd measured some gaps at 0.2. So are we going to increase the gap size for the GPU or the CPU by 0.01? You know, it's probably, this is like rough, approximately. All right, let's go tilde. 3 times, right? Approximately 3 times. Just from my personal experience of using shims, well, and a few other putties, but using shims with UTP-8, I was able to get it down to about 0.4. But not much thinner than that, so yeah, pandemic voice crack for sure. Good times. you like the gray color. Yeah, gray color is good. Yeah, you wasted a lot of money on thermal pads trying to find ones that worked with the right compression amount and the right gap is really guesswork. Yes, it is, Parps. Yes, it is. Me too, man. I'm really glad, guys. I'm so glad Gelid joined the Thermal Putty team. You know, they're part of Team Putty for sure. It's great. It's great that Gelid has Thermal Putty, because you got to think, right? If a brand doesn't have a Thermal Putty, maybe they're, you know, developing stuff right now. Maybe they're not. But if they, until they have a Thermal Putty publicly facing, it's not like they're in support of putty. It just, you know, we're going to be having to, I guess what I'm saying is, like, if people ask them about putty, until they release their own Thermal Putty, they're going to want to sell the products they have, which makes sense, right? That's what a company or a brand is going to do. It's like, well, we don't have that yet. No, you want the stuff that we've got now. Yeah. Like, here, take the stuff we currently have for sale. They're not going to tell people like, hey, we're working on a Thermal Putty, so don't bother buying pads now. Like, we don't need your money. Buy a different Thermal Putty if you need it right away. They're going to be like, no. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say it's good because Gelid is a well-known brand of thermal pads. Now they've got a putty. That's great news. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, if the Thermal Grizzlies and the Gelids of the world are saying that Thermal Putty is okay, then I can stop answering questions from people that are like, is this going to break my PC? Is there anything harmful in the putty that could, like, break electronics? Is it electrically conductive? You know, they're going to see the other brands, the larger ones that they're familiar with, that they trust, that they've used for years, possibly. Or the Thermal Grizzlies, the Gelids, and they're going to say, oh, okay, Thermal Putty's okay because these other brands are that I know and trust. Then they're going to trust, yeah. Putty more. Jackie boy, how's it going, man? Welcome to the stream. You've got no idea what any of the stream title means, but great vibes. Thanks, man. It's I'm feeling pretty good tonight. I just got back from a job. It was like the third job in a row. So like when I'm out in the field, Canadian oil and gas field, working on the drilling rigs and a few other places too, like service rigs sometimes. My job's pretty like all encompassing, and I don't have free time to do much more than like keep up a little bit on the Discord. So if you guys don't know, I've got a Discord server. If you want help with the Thermal Putty application, or you want to hang out and see what other folks are doing, it's a great spot to be. We're actually up just over 1,000 members, which is kind of crazy that we have 1,000 members in the Discord. I think that's pretty cool. It's also the best place to get a notification anytime I start a new stream or post a video. I don't tag at everyone unless it's a new video. So if you see an at everyone, it's only because a new video is posted in the one channel, and you can mute it if you want. But yeah, it's good to have you aboard, Jackie boy. It's a cool name. Guys, I'm feeling like playing some video games here. Just give me a second. Let me get this card hooked up here real quick. It's alive. All right. Syrah, more putties for the better, but I'm not going to be buying a brand for... No, that's the thing, right? You guys have already... like, you're out of the matrix. Yeah, like, there's no need for anyone that has been following along long enough to go and buy any particular brand. I think we go off of value. I just think it's good for the general awareness, because the more people that know about putty that are Googling it, I think the more people are going to find the channel, the Discord, and, you know, realize that there's lots of options. It's just going to be a good thing. Okay, I'm just going to minimize that. I got to save. This is the Firmark Calc. Yeah, I got to save that. We're going to just see what Test Bench 2 is doing. Test Bench 2. Sorry, I clicked it twice there. That was kind of weird. Gotta move my keyboard so I can bring in the Test Bench keyboard. I need to get a high quality KVM switch, I think. Firestorm, that's just so I can have green LEDs on the video card. I know, it's super important. That's hard to see, isn't it? Let's move that. There. And let's go MSI Afterburner. Parbs, I think it's an interesting test. It would require a lot of work. Is which putties work best depending on the gap size? Okay, so at 0.2 and anything 0.5 and above, you can use any putty you want. Let's go 4, which is power limit. Nope, sorry, 5. 5's power limited for the ETC hash test. And we got the fan going. All right, that's take good. We're gonna get the HW info. We got that going. Make a new folder. Gelid GN Ultimate 6 watt. Okay. ETC hash. Save. I put them over here to make it easier. Then I maximize this screen. Bring this guy up to there. Just gonna we are mining to Woolly Pulley Pool. I should make sure that I should check on that pool if there's like I don't know if you guys pay attention to GPU mining. Probably not. I'm going to assume. Let's move the chat over. Can't read that, hey? Oh, I didn't want to do that. Let's do... Oh, it's the wrong mouse. No wonder. Let me grab this. I'm going to have to, like, have a black... Moving the wrong thing again. I'm seriously moving the wrong mouse? No. Alright. Discord chat bubble. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to cave and put like a solid background behind the Discord chat. That's the only way it's gonna work, obviously. So I'll go and do that at some point. Yeah, because I can't keep moving the chat box around. This is gonna take a while to warm up. But let's see, 72 VRAM T delta. 72. It's going to take a good 15 minutes. But initially, it's not looking too bad, right? Our GPU intake fans, we got one showing 20, one showing 22.1. So 21 degrees, 72 minus 21. So we're like 51 delta. Yeah, it's going to climb up to that 52, maybe 53 delta. So it's going to be a high-performing putty. Only a few degrees off the top, so that's where I'm pegging it. At least we'll find out final results probably tomorrow, I think, if I have time. Parbs. Only thing I can think of is where pads are better is something like RAM sticks, where it could slide off. It can't really. Okay, I see what you're saying. I solved that with some double-sided tape, though. Yeah, so it depends if your RAM sticks are double-sided or not. Even on double-sided RAM, putty can work. You do have to be careful, though, right? If you were just trying to lift them out of the slots, like no problem pressing them into the RAM slots, the DIMMs. But if you're trying to pull them, you'd have to be kind of careful how you pull the RAM off. Otherwise, you might just be sliding the heat spreaders up. Then again, the gap is pretty small. I believe my RAM sinks were heat sinks or heat spreaders were 0.5 of a millimeter gap, so they gripped fairly well. And I used UTP-8. Now, if you used a really liquidy putty, you're going to get that sliding action, I think, like you're describing. But putty can definitely work. But you know, you got a good point. There are times where you might decide, hey, I want to use a pad for this because I think that's valid. I think where putty really shines is the fact that on a GPU core side, you're going to have 3 to 4 different thermal pad thicknesses sometimes, or gap sizes, and you need to have good core contact, and putty squishing really well just makes that a reality. So we're 74 over 21.5, maybe 21, 74 is 53. Again, we'll just have to see where the temperatures settle out, but this putty's looking good for sure. Do I have that saved? That's saved, so I can close that. Save the Kapow calc. Just gonna clean up some windows here while we watch it get warm. You guys have any questions though, or comments? We're getting pretty close to what feels like the natural end of the stream. I gotta save the ETC hash. So the ETC hash test, it ran for a very long time. I think it was like a few days. Yeah, because I went and did that one job and then pretty sure I remoted in to change the tests. TC hash is saved. Don't need to save the standard GPU VRAM calc sheet because we don't want any changes to be do anything there. 76 over 21 and a half. So is that what, 54, 53 and a half? 53.5, something like that. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Well, let's see, guys. I think that's yeah. I'm gonna let that run. I'm gonna close that for now. but we're going to put that keyboard away until we need it in a few hours. Couple hours. Yeah, you can read that text from my hand is there, but it's I definitely need to put a background on that, so I'll have to change the transparency there of the background, make it more opaque, make it like a gray or something. Thanks for tuning in. I don't think you guys want to see me stream video games tonight. I don't want to stream video games tonight. I don't know if that's something I'm going to consistently do on this channel. This is obviously mostly a thermal testing channel. Then again, I did watch a guy that's like, do what you enjoy, and people might watch it anyways. But tonight I'm not going to bother streaming a video game. I think when I do stream video games, I'm just going to make it a dedicated stream. Or maybe I'll make it a separate channel like Snark Plays Video Games. And then it's not going to bug most folks, because they'll be off to the side. And then for the folks that does interest, then hey, we can chat about putty and video games and all that stuff. So thanks for tuning in. It's been good. Hope you guys have a good night. And that is Snark's Domain out.